He is he's a graduate of Egerton University, where he did bachelor's education in secondary education and teaching. And he's currently doing or pursuing his PhD in instructional technology in digital environment of teaching and learning agency in Ohio University. He was also a STEM staff in Fellowship of Christian Union, that is Focus Kenya, from 2017 to 2022, where he served as a campus ministry facilitator. And he's also a member of the job search. He's also a job search committee member of the International Students and Scholar Services, whereby he's practicing part-time, and he's also a program supervisor that is envisioned by World Strides. So ladies and gentlemen, allow me, or we can put our hands together, our virtual claps together, and welcome Collins Keter as he takes over to speak to us. Thank you so much. Karibu.
Asante sana. Thank you, Eda, for that elaborate introduction. I don't know how you got some information about me. I'm surprised, but thank you so much. And thank you, Simiu, for inviting me for this session. And as Eda said, I'm Collins Ketere. It looks like the Google meeting is portraying my name differently. I tried to edit, but I'm not able. Thank you so much. It's good to see some of my friends here, long-term, new friends. It's good to see you all, and also to note that this meeting was prepared to appreciate or certify some of the people who have done a course with Simiu and the group. And I know today is their certification day, and they will be receiving their certificates after this meeting. So I just want to appreciate and congratulate them for this far. So this conversation is very important to me because it's part of my research, it's part of my inquiry, and I'll be very um, open to hear from you. I know some of you already have interactions with AI, but this chance is just to talk about the opportunities, the gaps, the local innovations, the local language. What should we fear about AI? Because it comes with things that we should be concerned about, like the issues of privacy, data protection, the issues of biases, inequalities. And the question has been constantly about, is AI going to solve the issues that the modern society has been facing? So it's an honor to speak to all of you. If you have any question that you'd like me to talk about before I finish, just write it there, and then we'll be able to answer after I'm done. The reason why this topic on AI is very important to me is that one is that this semester I've been doing this book. It's called Our Next Reality, and this is metaverse. It is the combination of AI, extended reality, and virtual reality. What that means is that when the three of them work together, we'll have a different experience of AI. So what you have experienced already, the generative AI you have experienced already, that is able to write your research, is able to write your emails, is able to do a podcast about your notes. You don't have to do a podcast with anybody. You can just do your notes, send the podcast audio, and they play it, and AI will just present what you have researched on. So that is generative AI. But we have extended immersive reality that this book talks about. So when you combine the three, you are able to get what is called the metaverse, and that becomes very powerful. It's able to do a lot of things. You can treat cancer while you are in Rwanda, and the doctor will be in Canada using virtual reality. Also, I've been doing this book called Core Intelligence this semester. It says living and working with AI and the issues of AI replacing human beings and mimicking human intelligence and knowledge are a concern that everybody is thinking about. Earlier today, we were talking about this with Simeo, and it's very shocking that people who have built AI is already replacing them. And the reason why is this is important to me, the issues of AI equity, because that's what I'm doing. The biases in African languages, the continuation of oppression to the global south, that is Africa, Asia. It's because digital inclusion is very important. It's a human right. And I truly believe that digital inclusion is not just a convenience, it's a fundamental human right. And today, AI is deeply embedded in how we communicate, how we govern, how we learn, how we engage economically through AI and algorithms and marketing. And if African languages are excluded in these systems, then millions of people, people like me, people like my family and my community, are essentially being silenced in the digital world. And a reminder is what Ngugi wa Thiong'o once said, that stuck with me, that if your language is not on the internet, it doesn't exist in the modern world. And that's the painful reality that we are facing today. When our languages are invisible online, so our voices are invisible, our identities are not existing, our contributions to the global AI landscape is not a reality. But number two is the issue of colonial legacy, which live on digitally, and AI is one of the perpetrators of colonial legacies. And so this is not just technology, it's about history, because whoever is developing these technologies, they develop with their lenses, they develop with their biases, they develop with the inequalities against women, against Black people. So the dominance of English, French, and other colonial languages in AI systems today is a form of which has been called digital neocolonialism, a continuation of a system that once told us that we don't have history, our languages were unworthy, and that legacy still shapes whose knowledge is valued and whose is erased. And one author called Answer 2023 last year in a conference said that the epistemic exclusion in AI mirrors colonial structures of power. Whoever has power to develop AI, they still continue to run the narrative. And this bias isn't accidental, it's structural. And unless we challenge it by doing what we're doing, assembling, doing awareness, learning, going back to school, having degrees on AI, we will be able to, if we don't do that, we'll be able to allow tools which replicate the very inequalities we claim to solve. But lastly is that biases in AI reinforces stereotypes and discrimination against Africa and Asia. And when AI mispronounces African names, you can ask AI to pronounce your name, both names, and you realize that it will tell you a name you don't have it, and you have never have it. Names like Chiamaka, these are tests that I've done this semester, is a female name in Nigeria, and it doesn't pronounce it well, or it says it that it is a male's name, or it is a both sex name. This misrepresents Africa. It misrepresents our culture. It misrepresents our identities. When it misrepresents the meaning of a Swahili proverb, ukiona vyaelea ujue vimeundwa, how it tells you the meaning is shocking. So this is not just a glitch. It is a message. It tells people their names, their words, their culture don't matter. It's cultural erasure, plain and simple. So the reason for this conversation is to try to bring these issues into perspective and see how is the AI landscape in Africa? What are the opportunities? What are the challenges? But also we need to celebrate some local innovations that are ongoing in Africa. And for the conversation about today is that AI, artificial intelligence, has become a driving force across the globe. Where I live is that most of the things are AI. Most things have moved, even during COVID detection. If you're just you're swiping your ID card as a student and you are COVID positive, the university is able to track the places you have been and declare those spots as hotspots, just to make sure that no one gets COVID from you. So it is already a driving force in some quarters. It is shaping global societies, how they work, how they learn, and how they grow. In Africa, the narrative around AI is rapidly evolving from one of passive adoption to one of proactive innovation. And it has a reason behind it, because of the young population in Africa more than any other continent. This transformation is being fueled by a unique convergence of different things. One is a dynamic youth population, a growing digital economy, rising local ingenuity, and the urgent need to bridge historical development in Africa. That's why there is a lot of loans owned by Africa to other nations, because they are trying to catch up. Africa's AI moment, I think for me, is now. And it is youth-led, locally grounded, and globally relevant. And one example is M-Pesa, developed by a student in the university in Kenya, picked by private companies, monetized it, and it has become a global financial structure tool that other countries try to emulate and learn from. And number one issue to talk about is the AI global potential and Africa's projected share on AI. According to PwC, which is Price Waterhouse 2017, they projected that AI will contribute approximately $15.7 trillion to the global GDP by 2030. And only $1.2 trillion will be going to Africa. Just think about that. 15.7. We are the second growing continent. We have the biggest youth unemployment, poverty. We are the highest, but will only take a very small share. That is $1.2 trillion. And it is distributed to the rest of the world, what is called the rest of the world, or if you like, the other, which people who don't mean a lot, or the periphery. The periphery is the end. The center gets everything. That will be around $14 trillion will be going to the West, the center, the owners of the innovation. And this is a stark reminder that Africa is not yet a major beneficiary of AI economic dividends, but this is not due to potential issues. Far from it. Africa has potential, because Africa's AI market is projected to reach 6.9 or 7 billion by 2025. And more than 50 AI startups have already begun. They are operational across the continent, and their activities span from areas of health, education, public safety, financial services like M-Pesa, and banking systems. And these companies are not replacing the Western innovations. They are actually generating context-specific solutions which are deeply rooted to identities, African needs, and cultural realities that face Africa. But number two, the issues of healthcare. One of the most impactful areas in AI is healthcare sector, which Africa needs to leverage its use. This semester, we were learning about AI in healthcare and telemedicine. And one of the things that AI is doing is, it used to be for you to know that you're cancer positive, the doctors plus the systems will only tell 75%. So they say, we are thinking about you having this disease. They are not sure, and they start treating you without being sure. It used to be 75%, but with the innovations of AI, virtual reality, they are able to tell 99.5% that you have malaria of this kind, you have tuberculosis, you have cancer, you have this kind of disease. So the continent's healthcare currently is overwhelmed, especially in rural areas where access to doctors, diagnostic tools is very limited. But Africa still pays too much on healthcare to go to India, to go to other countries that have embraced these innovations. AI is emerging as a practical and scalable solution if Africa focuses on developing AI. Because AI powered diagnostics, for example, have revolutionized how diseases are detected and managed over time. Only with smartphones, cameras, and mobile AI applications, individual can upload images of symptoms or conditions which are then analyzed using machine learning algorithms trained on diverse datasets, and it is able to tell exactly what is wrong. These tools are capable of identifying illness such as malaria, tuberculosis, early stages of cancer, long before patients will traditionally access clinical services. Telemedicine platforms are now leveraging AI to triage cases, schedule consultations for patients, and prioritize critical cases according to the algorithm that it is using. This not only saves lives but also reduces transportation costs, especially for women and elderly patients living from very far from hospitals and urban areas. Predictive analytics also helps government respond to outbreaks. For example, during COVID pandemic and other localized epidemics, AI models were used to forecast an infection, declare hotspots, so that government makes informed decisions about the hotspots. But challenges remain because AI in healthcare need to scale up. There must be sustained investment in training professionals on digital tools, expanding internet access in rural areas, developing inclusive data governance, policies that protect patients' privacy, because you can imagine telling AI about your sickness, and that is a private matter, and if it is not protected, that AI portrays you that way, even without knowing if you ever changed or you got healed or declared healed. If that data is not protected, someone else can use that data to claim funding on that disease while it is not knowing the progress. So the issues of data privacy are at the center of this innovation. But number three is the issue of agriculture, feeding the continent. Agriculture remains Africa's economic backbone, employing over 60% of the populations and contributing significantly to every country's GDP. Yet besides having 25% of the world arable land, like we have the largest land for agriculture, Africa still imports about 80 to 82% of food outside. So we are not food secure. And AI applications in agriculture to solve the issues of food security, they are referred in Africa as agri-tech, and they're already working in Tanzania, for example. And one of my colleagues is working on a project every summer on the issues of agri-tech. And they have begun to address the issues of inefficiencies in soil management, irrigation, pest detection and control, and supply chain coordination. Precision agriculture platforms like Nigeria's Kitovu, which is an AI-based app, and East Africa's Grecon are using AI to deliver personalized agronomic devices and advice based on remote sensing, satellite imagery, and machine learning tools. These tools guide farmers on optimal planting times. It is able to tell you that there will be floods, the soil are not suitable for that kind of crop, and it is able to advise a farmer. And I will tell you one of the AI initiatives in India, which is called AI for AI. And it was able to help chili farmers to increase incomes by 100% and yields by 21%, just through a WhatsApp-based advisory system. And AI soil testing that AI for AI was using was able to offer a blueprint that can be adopted across the world, and Africa can pick from there. Beyond individual farms, predictive analytics can also support national food security strategies by forecasting shortages and informing policy. But number 4 is the issue of youth-led innovation and AI localization. And one of the most exciting aspects about Africa's AI journey is the role of the youth, because across the continent, young people are not just embracing AI at this point. They are actively shaping the development. You can look at even evolving platforms like TikTok, Instagram, everything, content creation. The youths have occupied those spaces. And communities like Deep Learning Indaba, which is a project in Africa, Masakane, which is trying to help to train local languages into AI, because one of the disadvantage Africa has is that they have 2,000 languages, many cultures, many ethnic groups, and it is hard for AI to understand Africa at a go. So you need to break that data into AI. You need to tokenize it into smaller portions for AI. So Masakane is one of the projects that is trying to put Swahili, Yoruba, and Amharic language of Ethiopia, Djibouti, and Eritrea into AI, because AI doesn't understand our language. So the first point of AI understanding our issues, our culture, to respect our identity is to understand, first of all, our language. Because unless we do that, it will use English, which is stereotyped, and it is able to judge you according to the builder, the person who built the AI. Data Science of Nigeria, they are trying to create robust ecosystems for knowledge exchange, local development, local model development, and mentorship. And as I mentioned about Masakane project, it is focused on building natural language processing, which is called NLP, for African languages such as Swahili, Yoruba, and their work not only tries to include the languages of Africa, but it is trying to resist the dominance of Western AI systems that often ignore or misrepresent our languages, because this AI is best when you use French, Chinese, English. They perform better even in Africa. AI performs better in English in East Africa more than Swahili. It performs better in West Africa, where Yoruba, Igbo is dominant. French works better in those areas, and therefore these languages tries to misrepresent us or try to bring the issues of stereotypes that have been kept hidden in English, French, and Chinese, and the owners of those languages. So these community-driven projects, they try to partner with international partners because of funding, but maintain strong local control and cultural grounding. AI bootcamps and youth fellowships awards, that is funding, can be cultivated to help this generation of Africa data scientists, ensuring that African problems are addressed with African knowledge and tools. But despite those strides and good organizations coming up from individual countries, we are not able to cover what each country is trying to do. There is more that is needed on AI development and to try to close in the gaps. Governments, universities, and private sector must increase funding for AI research. And I can just ask you randomly to ask the university you are in if they have any course on AI, if they have any course that is related to AI. So I am guessing that it's just like my university, that they don't have that course. But going to the developing world, courses have changed to include AI. Even things that never had AI as a component, now you have to do AI. You have to do a course in AI. Undergrads have to learn on prompt engineering, even if you're not doing anything on digital media or something. You have to learn about prompt engineering, because that's how you are able to do your research effectively on AI. Countries like France and the Europe that have been trying to be the police for the development of AI are now currently trying to embrace. Recently, France had hosted big tech companies to see how they can develop an AI that is based on France knowledge. But finally, the gaps in infrastructure, policy, and ethics. These are the issues that are affecting the AI development and opportunities in Africa. One of it is energy poverty, because 600 million Africans lack access to reliable electricity. And this becomes an obstacle, the first obstacle to developing AI, because of data centers and cloud computing. Internet access, digital inclusion remains uneven, with rural population frequently disconnected. Data governance, many African countries do not have frameworks to govern their data. They just collect data and then they give to the partners who give them money, like World Bank, and World Bank trade that data for their own good. We also have the issues of skill shortage, and it also speaks the issues of courses not available in the universities for students to pursue those courses that respond to the 21st century skills. There are too few local postgraduate programs specializing in AI, and most AI development happens outside the continent. So it is sold back to Africa. So they don't own it. And if they have small ones, they are not like massive, trying to solve many issues because of the issues of funding. And that's why there is a lot of war between America and Chinese. They are all gambling on getting the resources to develop more AI. That's why Congo comes in. America is interested in Congo. China is interested in Congo because of the raw materials to develop more innovations through AI. So policy responses are beginning to emerge just in Africa. Egypt, Rwanda, Mauritius, they launched in 2024 AI strategies, which are focusing on ethical deployment, skills deployment, and economic integration. And regional bodies in Africa, like Smart Africa, they are trying to push on harmonized frameworks on AI. But most African countries do not have this framework on AI. Youth activists and technologists must push for inclusive, right-based AI policies, and this includes advocating for digital rights, ensuring women, marginalized, those silenced voices are included in the AI development, and trying to resist the exploitative practices such as click labor and surveillance. Click labor is where these big tech companies use surveillance kind of to even monitor what you do as their staff. So if you work with them, they monitor what you do, they monitor who you are with, just using your phone, your whatever logs you use online, they try to monitor you wherever you go. So if we try to remove that in Africa, then we are safe because our lives are protected. But I don't know if we are protected anymore. The issues of education, inclusion, and digital literacy, I think I've already talked about the issue of courses, funding, AI awareness campaigns, partnerships between public-private partnership, which could scale digital literacy programs. The African Union's Continental Data Policy Framework, which was developed in 2022, and the Smart Africa Blueprint are emphasizing these needs, but the implementation has always been the problem. But as a youth, you have a role to play. Few recommendations is that engage with AI communities, join open source initiatives like Masakane, or participate in programs hosted by deep learning programs. Skill up, get the skills, the current skills that are needed on the marketplace. The issues of learn Python, R, JavaScript, explore platforms like Google Colab, Kaggle, familiarize yourself with tools like TensorFlow, Hugging Face, or Fast AI, or any AI, DeepSeek AI, all this Queen AI that is able to do a lot of statistics courses for you. Build locally relevant projects. Tackle real world problems. As you try to develop any AI course or app or project, try to solve a problem, because by solving that problem, you put in the language of those people you're trying to help. It will help you monitor disease if you develop things like AI apps or innovations. It will help reduce the issue of multilingual biasness. and also advocate. Get involved in national digital policy. This week, Kenya has hosted AI breakfast. Be involved, collaborate across board, form networks with peers in East, West, and North Africa. And if you're somebody who knows how to use Python, R, share your code with those people because they're able to develop more. Exchange feedback and build collectively. But finally, Africa is not on the sideline of the AI revolution. It is growing. It's a growing frontier of innovation with a youthful population, diverse linguistic of over 2,000 languages, and cultural depth, and a determination to chart its own course if it is able to maneuver the issues of geopolitics. Africa can shape AI to serve its development priorities, but doing so requires intentional investment in infrastructure, skills, ethics, and inclusion. And the Africa AI landscape is very rich. It has big potential, but the future depends on who builds it. If another savior tries to build it, it misrepresents us and brings the issues of digital neocolonialism. So, as youth, your creativity, code, courage are our continent's greatest assets, which the former president of Kenya talked about. Let us be bold. Let us build AI that understands our languages, respects our culture, and solves our problem. And the time is now. Act now. Thank you.
Wow, wonderful. What a presentation. Thank you so much, Collins, for bringing that forthright in a very concise language, in a very concise manner, and in a language that we all can understand. We really appreciate that you have really broken down this information to the in the simplest way for anyone to actually understand. So help me appreciate Collins for taking us through that, and even as we ask ourselves and as you even ask yourself, what is the role that you are playing as an African youth and in your community in shaping the continent's AI trajectory? I have actually loved the bit where Collins has helped us paint a picture. I had actually not seen it in the from the angle of biasness, from the fact that AI can only use English and cannot actually speak my own language. So that has really opened up my mind. I don't know what is it that you are picking for you. If you have any questions, I have posted on the chat box. Let us interact and hear any questions that you have. We'll be able to answer that. But also take up the challenge as individuals and look at the opportunities around us and in the fields that we are in, whether you're in education, whether you're in agriculture, whether you are in the health sector. What are you doing to what are you doing to fulfill these and have, you know, a localized what do I call it? An African AI future. So what are you doing that best suits us instead of just feeding from what we are getting from the West, and also ensuring that this is actually well focused or administering to our needs as it should. I don't know if there's anyone with a question. Kevin Odhiambo says in the comments section, Mr. Keter, that was a great, I think there's a word that is missing there. That was a great presentation, but what are your thoughts on this? You're facilitating this session in English, yet you still feel insecure about AI not embracing our local languages. Don't you think AI uses English primarily because it's more globally recognized than other languages? Don't you think the reason why you couldn't facilitate this session in English is the same reason why AI would not use your local language in its rollout to the global market? I would love to hear your perspective. Thank you, Kevin, for that question. Mr. Keter will be answering it shortly. Emmanuel also asked something here. How can Africa shape its own AI narrative instead of importing models and priorities from the West or China. All right, thank you, Emmanuel, for your question also. Those are the two questions that we are receiving, and yeah, I'll throw them back to Ketere to answer them. Back to you, Collins. You are muted.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Kevin is my friend, and it's good to interact on this issue about English on AI. I would like to approach this question in this manner that the colonizer, and I come from the point of studying post-colonial studies in my master's. So most of my biases towards the West or the development of languages and English comes from post-colonial studies to look at how we have been deprived because of language. Because language is a very important tool. It carries culture, it carries identity, it carries values, African societal values. And so English can be used because it has already been brought to this dominance by those who brought it to us. French was not in West Africa. Igbo was there, Hausa, Asante, all those languages, Tree. But the French brought French and made it the official language of communication. And they had to force us that our languages cannot be used to instruct, can only be used locally by ourselves, but not to instruct. East Africa is already taking some shape. Rwanda has just made Swahili their official language. If the East African can develop Swahili, then it can compete with English. For the last 1 year, I've been developing Swahili for travelers, trying to train. That's why I remember the issues of ukiona vyaelea ujue vimeundwa. How AI was telling me the meaning is opposite from what Swahili tells me is the meaning. So I had to retrain that chatbots to understand those methali, African idioms, my mother tongue. I write statements to AI ask about a question on Maasai. It tells me something different. Then I train it and tell it, this is what it means. Because it is only by training it is able to get that data. Because one of the problems we have, the reason why we are here is because of data. We don't have data because whoever collects our data is not our own. And I can talk about two authors, Ngugi wa Thiong'o and this Nigerian prominent author. When they wrote their books and they put a lot of African languages, Kikuyu and Igbo, the London press refused to publish it because it is speaking against the West. And so they had to comply to reduce our mother tongue languages like Kikuyu and Igbo and talk nicely in English to massage the ego of the colonizer. So that's where I come from. But they still used English to speak back. The issues of biases came through those writings. And Africans started becoming bold to write even from the Western universities. And you can imagine the tension I had this semester talking about AI biases in a white full of colleagues. It's because of those writings. Otherwise, if somebody never confronted those issues, will not be bold to talk about those biases and all that. We will still use English because it is dominant, but we are not shy from developing localized AI because AI is coming to change the narrative. Because AI can understand the data you feed in. I feed in Maasai, it speaks to me in Maasai. I tell how to treat a disease using herbal medicine in Maasai and talk about it and tell it this is what it does, develop procedures in my mother tongue, it will use that. Otherwise, if all of you are Maasai, I would have developed a presentation using AI in Maasai language, which I train. So that's what I'm talking about, that if we take those initiatives to train with our own languages, it reduces, because AI should come to lower the inequalities, the biases that those who developed have it, because it is going out of hand. AI is going out of those who developed it to do things that were not intentioned. It's so powerful such that we can train equality, and it is able to help us on equality. We are able to teach it on effectiveness, delivering services like in Rwanda to deliver telemedicine using the drones, and it does exactly that. You give a wrong GPS, it delivers to a wrong GPS. So that's why I'm talking about, we need to train it in our local languages, and once they understand our local languages, it's able to understand our local identities, our cultural things that we value, our own issues, because there are issues at the West are struggling with, which Africa is not struggling with. There are issues that Africa is struggling with, which the West is not struggling, but mostly it's the portrayal of the media. How can Africa shape its own AI narrative instead of importing models and priorities from the West or China? I think one of the things I talked about is the issue of the youth developing context-based innovations. And I talked about M-Pesa, for example, developed in Kenya, used majorly in Kenya, but now influencing business in Ethiopia. Safaricom putting like one of the biggest centers of M-Pesa in Addis Ababa, and now M-Pesa is being used there. Replicated, let's say, for example, in Uganda, replicated in Tanzania, replicated in diaspora, where people are sending money using M-Pesa to their countries back home. When you look at that innovation, which now is being included to have a lot of aspects of AI, artificial intelligence in it, like recognizing whose that money is going before you send. AI is able to tell you that person is not in your contacts. There's a number that is wrong. And that is local knowledge. You can change your M-Pesa to Swahili, and it has the Swahili version, it has the English version. You can imagine if Kenya, rather than introducing English, introduced Luo language for M-Pesa to those who live in Luoland. Put Western language, Luya and all that. So if we were proud to include our local languages in our innovations, then these innovations are monetized. So when they are monetized, those owners of those innovations and those who speak that language benefit from that. What happens on English, for example, the AI that is coming from America, which America is one of the biggest developer of AI, is that they have monetized everything. You cannot get the best of ChatGPT without having a premium account. You cannot have the best of any AI, let's say presentation AI, Gamma AI, all those AI, Jenny AI, you cannot have the best without having a premium account. So when you have a premium account, it works effectively. What they have done is that they have developed it in English and they have monetized. So there's somebody, a billionaire seated in California for your subscription, and they earn money. If Africa youth takes that and develop local knowledge and pick knowledge from AI and develop in their local language and monetize it for their own people, it's able to economically lift the entire community, but also preserve their language, their culture, and their identities. So I think using our local knowledge to develop AI rather than picking from the outside. Thank you, Eda. Can I go to the third one?
Yeah, sure. You can just finish up on the questions.
Yeah, what are some of the traits and character that youths can develop or adapt so that they can be robust in future or replaced by AI in any field? Replacement is a big shock. This week on Monday, I think it is Google or Microsoft that laid off 6,000 digital gurus, people who know, people who have built Microsoft, but they had to be laid off because a lot of those roles are done by AI now. And I think that is a worry, but it's not a worry for Africa because we are far from there. So one of the things that you can do not to be replaced by AI on what you do is to train it to do what you want. You train AI to do what you want to do because it will mimic your knowledge. It will respond to the things you're responding. It will know what to do, what your job requires. But if you don't know how to use it, it will replace you because somebody will develop something that does what you do. So one of the things we learn on developing AI is that do not develop AI that is more brighter than you, more brighter than the human being, because that's where we are going, where AI does a lot. For example, there's a simulation that was done on a robot here in the US, and the robot became more aggressive and it caused casualties in the entire place because the person was thinking about this robot even responding to threats out of the building when the robot is trying to run errands. We went to a hotel where the robot brings you all the ingredients and then you cook the food for yourself in a hotel and then you pay and then you leave. But you're the one who have cooked for yourself. So what that person tried to do is that they tried to respond to the issue of customer care, efficiency, fastness in serving customers because they have very big hotel in California, and so they are trying to respond to the huge number of people. But it has replaced those people who don't know how to control the robots. Those people who remain are people who know how to keep controlling the robots, prompting the robot on what to do because they are trying to develop something that also has emotional intelligence. Because when they try to build all these things, they realize, okay, it's not empathetic like somebody serving food. They're not able to say sorry for bad service. So they're trying to see how they can bring the issues of emotional intelligence, empathy, emotions into building AI. So whoever will remain in that job is somebody who knows to do that. So at least they have some few years, but the threat is that if you don't learn AI, how to control AI, how to use it to do your own work, then it will replace you. And if it replaces you and you don't know how to use it, you can imagine you cannot do your own employment because even when you begin an employment, you now need algorithms to sell your business online while you're just at home. You need to have a premium account that sells your items. So I go to TikTok, I see what you're selling, and you are at home, and I buy, I pay using M-Pesa, and I receive it. It's able to tell you how many people shipped, how many people need to be shipped, so that's what you plan to do next week, to ship those items to the people. So it's really a very concerning question, which we don't have the answer. I think the continents need to pick the issues of AI very seriously and develop skill set amongst the youth. Sarah, thank you so much. I'd like to hear your thoughts on AI engagement in issues farming, which is huge for Africa. Other than climate conditions, as we approach AI localization in that area, for example, do you also think that AI can also be biased in helping us in that area due to other factors like environment, soil texture? How do you think we can ensure a very holistic approach as we localize AI? I think on the issues of agriculture, which I talked a little bit, let me just move back to my presentation, is the issues of that AI now is able to understand the weather, and that's what Africa is facing. For example, where I am, I'm able to know when I need to plant. Like, for example, where I am, Americans are planting right now after just the winter session has ended. And the AI has able to help them analyze what need to change in fertilizer to use this year because it's not the same all the years. And one of the problems Africa faces is climate change. And we face that not because we contribute to the climate change. We contribute 0.01%. But those who contribute refuse to pay carbon tax. The big industrial countries refuse to pay carbon tax, which should be paid to Africa to develop this innovation that responds to the challenges of climate change. So number one is that we have a problem because we don't have funding. We have to take the loan from World Bank, IMF, and IMF are the ones who tell you what to do with that money. So if you want to solve the issues of climate change with that money, you are not able. Somebody puts a knife on your neck that you will not do that, because some of these existential problems are structural that Africa should not develop. So it is structured like that, because if Africa had the ability and the young age that we have, the youths, I don't think there is a continent that is able to rival Africa in any way, be it labor. And the reason why America now is getting a lot of these innovations from China is because of easy labor, like the iPhones, the MacBooks. They are being developed in China because of the cheap labor. So America put a company there, develop using resources and labor, pay less, take it to America, sell it to East Africa, an iPhone with 300,000 Kenya shillings, and they have developed it with 50,000 Kenya shillings. So they made 250,000 profits. So they look on the issue of labor. So if Africa had the labor, has the labor already, and they have the innovation to respond to the issues of climate change, like the issues of projecting the weather, like whether it rains, how it rains. Like for example, Kenya had an issue of El Nino just the other day. The scientists said it will rain, and then everybody else is saying it will not rain. One of the things that we need first to do is to believe in science. I know the belief of God should be constant, and we believe in God 100%. We are very spiritual, but when it comes to the issues of innovation, we need to trust on our own science. We need to have that technology. We need to employ people who know about that technology, and we need to listen to them. So if we have something that tells us about soil testing, AI is already doing soil testing. Actually, in South Africa, some farmers are using already advisory. I talked about the AI for AI India, which is trying to help chili farmers understand the soil test, understand the vulnerabilities, the pest control and management, and they were able to get 100% income and add 21% yield. So there is that possibility, but funding is the issue. Kenya has just gotten free fertilizer from Ukraine and Russia, fighting countries. You can imagine if we are told to develop an innovation that responds to that problem. So I think it is the issue of we are willing, but we don't have that ability. But we have to start from somewhere. Small, localized innovations that try to, even telemedicine was just developed by African students who are in a university, and it's able to tell which kind of condition do you have, where are you, and it's able to deliver the medicine to you. You don't have to go to the hospital, you reduce transportation to the hospital, public transportation, and you just stay at home. So if we start small and build comprehensively, but understand that the environment need to be conducive and government policy should support local knowledge. How do we introduce AI in our schools? Any policy on it in Kenya, and what effect does AI have on biblical scriptural teaching? This one I need theologians. AI in schools. The US has just passed a policy that it is a must to use AI in schools. The issues of essays, writing essays, AI assistant. On this book, which I talked about in the beginning, which is called Working with AI, Living and Working with AI, it talks about an AI assistant. So if you're a chemistry teacher, for example, and you take students to the lab, the students are able to make the observation, but the discussion part, AI is able to know, because the students put the results, I got this and this and this and this and this, and then AI is able to develop the conclusion, the results, and the graphs for the student. And then the teacher points students into small groups and puts students into small groups, and AI does PowerPoints for them, and they present. So there is a reduction of work for the student part. But what happens is that you need, as a teacher using AI in class, to make sure that the students understand the concepts. They read, they engage the knowledge, and the issue is not cramming, it's understanding how it works, hands-on skills. And then when they finish the lab, they put all their results in AI, which is government sponsored, so it's free AI for education. And then it only understands chemistry because the school is able to pay an AI that is only for education purposes. It understands chemistry, it understands physics, Swahili, mathematics, and then each teacher is able to localize that knowledge, use it in class, because they are participating in the innovation of that AI. During summer, when they don't have school, the teachers go here to training on what has changed on AI, and they are able to develop questions for students. The question is, when you use AI for students or education, the funny question is that students will never ask a question because AI is answering those questions. It is answering at home when they are doing their homework. And so what they have changed is that there is no homework. You make sure that the 3 or 4 hours you have the students that day, they do a lot of hands-on, discuss in small groups without computers, give them an opportunity to go put prompt engineer whatever they have discussed. AI is able to develop what they have learned, and then they put in PowerPoints, discuss in class, present in class. They get the confidence, they understand what they are going to say, because PowerPoints is PowerPoints. It's not explanation, it's small points that mark a theory. So you understand the theory, you use a smaller point to explain, so the students are able to understand and they're able to present in class. So it's possible to have AI in education, but you also need infrastructure. Institutions have to pay for that AI. The government need to facilitate the training for teachers. Many of our teachers are not even able to use a computer, and so you need to start from somewhere to have computer labs or research hubs for each region. Nakuru to have a research hub that has all this AI, so that you're able to take the teachers to train there, and then they have the same standard training, so that you're also making sure that all the teachers have the same skills to teach the students. There is some other question, the issues of what effect does AI have on biblical scriptural teaching? It has a big impact on how we work, or let's say, let me put myself in the shoes of a pastor. Sermon preparation, because now AI is trying to even help lecturers develop notes on Canvas the entire course of 15 weeks. One of my assignment last semester was to develop Swahili for travelers who are going to Kenya for safaris and Tanzania, so that they learn Swahili for 4 months, and I'm able to respond to those questions maybe during the week, and I explain what they don't understand. So you have to put all the videos and all that, and AI is able to help me develop those courses very easily. So if I was a pastor in a church and we are developing a plan for the entire year, AI is able to understand your audience. AI is able to understand you have the youth, you have the children, you have this, and it's able to develop a program, not the content, a program for the church, creative program for the church, to make sure that all the needs of the church are met. That is just number one. But the issues of content, AI will bring issues of youth saying that they know everything because they can use AI to understand the Bible. The reason why is that some people are putting the Bible scriptures on AI. They are coding the Bible to AI. So AI also understands. If you tell ChatGPT to tell you scriptures about healing, it's just working more like Google. It gives you all the scriptures. Okay, relate to my sickness. How can I apply? It's already telling them. So it's the issue of those who have not done theology, they can use AI to study theology and they're done. So me and you, if we work on theology courses for pastors, they're able to log in and study online and graduate. That's just on a funny note. Enza, I think, Eda, I think you can take from here. Just, I want to be very respectful of the time. There are two other comments, but maybe you can take us through.
Okay, thank you so much, Collins. Eda just dropped. Here in Kenya, we have a challenge of power, so I had to pick that up very fast. But thank you so much for enlightening us and also just telling us what's happening and weighing. I know there are many questions that comes, and from your discussion, um I hope that the audience has been enlightened. Here in Kenya, I will say we have interacted with AI, the artificial intelligence, mostly with the generative AI, the language model, and it's common and it's famous, especially with students on helping them to do assignment learning. But I think Kenya, we have not explored so much what AI can do. But there's so much. From my end, I've been using AI, especially the generative AI, for 2 years now, 2 or so years. And I will say before you come up with your own model that understand you, your personality, understand the kind of work that you're doing, it can take even 6 months. So as Collins said, it's very important to be cautious with what you prompt or how you prompt the AI. So you create an account, then you start feeding it with data, with information, and here it's when things that ethical consideration comes in, and I especially cautious to those who work with big data. It is important not to upload your data to an online AI. Develop an offline AI, train it as much as possible, input a lot of data depending with how you want it to be. For example, that question that has been asked, if pastors can use AI, you can identify an AI model that you want, generative AI, mostly it will work and it will be best fit for you. Then put it on offline and start training it with data with your church, with your uh, 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 denomination, code of ethics. Then when you find that it's good, now it will start serving you. So thank you so much, Collins, and it has been really an enlightening session. I know this conversation that has started, and we need to pick this up because from the look of things, there's no going back. The dice has already been cast, and we have seen all over, starting with messages. It is being integrated with AI. All search engines now, when you do a search, you will see the first results is coming from AI because these are just assistant model. Previously, somebody, when you go and search maybe what is the best chemical to use in the farm, you will be forced to read 20 or 30 blogs to summarize one chemical. But now you just get it with one prompt. So thank you so much. I don't know if there's one person who like just to voice their comment. I know time has already also passed, but I can give one person to voice their comment or feedback before we proceed to the last part of this session. Yeah. So if you like to voice your comment or you ask a question in 3 seconds, then I'll just take over the mic. Okay, so that's 3 second silence. I believe that no one wants to ask a question or to give a feedback, but we can keep this conversation going. Collins is very active on LinkedIn. You can check his account, Collins Smart Ketere. You can check his account, what he's posting there on artificial intelligence. You can also check my account, Simeon Alianya, on X and LinkedIn. I'm very active there. I'm trying to come back to Instagram. Imenitupa nje, but on TikTok, very active on comment sections, and let's interact. So this session has been brought to you by Corporate Nexus, the one that is playing on the screen. It's an initiative that decided that this year we're going to give back to the community and the society. There's so much that we learn, but the only way to expand is when you teach and when you share with your fellow friends. So sometimes last month, 8 weeks session, we did a course, and I'm grateful there's a group of friends who are able to go through the 8-week course, and they were able to be impacted with skills on creative design, communication, and we did a hint on meta course, and this, I know it's a conversation that will pick coming few months to come or weeks, but I'm glad that someone somewhere now they are able to do maybe design with understanding, and these are some of the things that we do. So at this moment, I don't know if Collins, you're able just to put a word before we present the certificate, then we'll release them to the individual's email. Yeah, so I'll welcome Collins, then I'll come and do a wrap up.
Thank you, Simeo. And just as I said in the beginning, congratulations to those who are able to take this short course. This is the first step to the right direction. And you have been given skills to complete the 8 weeks online creative design, branding mastery class. And there are several issues that we're able to go through. One of them that I was very happy about is the creative design and branding, because branding has become one of the things that marketing is required. Any organization requires it. Branding is very important. Currently, we have been running something on our university on how to change the strategy, and some of the people who have been employed this summer is people who are able to do the creative writing, creative design, branding for the university. There's issues of core design principles and aesthetics. Some of the designs are very good but doesn't have beautiful aesthetics, so it's good that you went through brand identity, positioning, visual storytelling and communication, industry insights and case studies, design tools like Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, Canva, and you have the entire package to go out and change your job place and your career. So mine is to congratulate all of you, and we hope to see the next cohort. Congratulations, but also to the team that has been training this team for the last 8 weeks. We say congole to you for the good job, Simeo, who has jumped into this space with a lot of force, and we recognize your work and congratulate you too. Together with Eda and whatever you do, we wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Collins. And yeah, so those who will be receiving your certificate, feel free to share with your audience. You don't know who is watching, because these are some of the soft and hard skills that are being required now in the organization. And being in corporate and communication, I would say, if you have these skills in whatever department that you are in, either HR, admin, comms, ICT, it's very important. So feel free to share on your LinkedIn. You can tag me, you can tag Simedia, you can tag Simiyu Lalianya on LinkedIn. I'll be able to repost with a comment. And if I also find that you have aligned your profile very well, I will endorse you. And there's something on LinkedIn, it's called endorsement. Yeah, when you endorse someone, an expert endorses you, it pushes your profile. Yeah, so that's a bit done. And the next cohort, Collins, it's coming. And this one I saw from the feedback, many people, they want to understand AI, so we'll have a short, not 8 weeks, we'll have a short course on AI, especially on generative AI. Actually, on Monday, I was I went to seek medical attention, and before I got there, I had a conversation around a whole hour conversation with ChatGTP and Gemini. So I wanted to see which one is good, and I discovered that now ChatGTP has integration depending with what you want. So checking the doctor part of it. So I played the role and asked ChatGTP, so I'm going to be the doctor and you're going to be the patient, and I am assigning you a disease or an ailment which I was sick. So I told ChatGTP, you are the patient, I am the doctor. Ask me questions that are relevant so that at least I can treat you. So I discovered that every question that ChatGPT was asking me, it was exactly how I was feeling. So there is something called reverse psychology. You know, also AI, you need to be intelligent. If you're not intelligent, it will mess you up badly. You don't go and say, ChatGPT, I'm having headache, please recommend for me medication. It will mess you badly. You need to prompt it with a lot of data so that it can also help you. So after there, I went to the hospital and I was shocked that everything that Chat told me is exactly what the doctor was telling me. Offered. I was like, okay, this is good. I have now I use AI daily, especially on monitoring now with cybersecurity where I work. We have integrated it with our system. Previously, every Friday I will do cybersecurity audits and checking reports that are coming in, because on a good day or on a good month we receive more than 100,000 attempts of cyber attack. So imagine if this could be handled by humans. So I'm able to receive reports, threats that are coming in a dashboard, and thank God Microsoft is doing a very good job on that, using their AI that has been integrated with Copilot. You can go and check Copilot AI. It's a very good assistant. So when we talk about AI and chat model, generative AI, it's not all about that is a bad thing. Actually, Kenya last month, yes, they came up with a Kenya National Artificial Intelligence Strategy, and it's going to hit until up to 20 something. Yeah, so it's a conversation that is ongoing. I saw Botswana already, they have incorporated theirs. Yeah, so guys, today a summary of this event, I will tell you that AI will not come and replace people's job, but it will come to replace the lazy people at work. Yeah, so you have to learn, you have to invest, you have to be up to speed. Yeah, so that at the end of the day, you're not be among the people who are going to be laid off. And who knows, you can still be laid off like this guy from Microsoft. Yeah, he developed and championed the discussion around only last week to receive a notification that, guys, you're among the people who are going home. Yeah, so that being said, I will request a volunteer to close us with a word of prayer. Let me pick randomly from my...
Don't forget that Pastor Sarah Mudeu is here.
Yes, Pastor Sarah Mudeu, you have been appointed, and you have the anointing to close us with a word of prayer. Yeah. Yeah, if you're in a position, you can unmute. I've just confirmed you are able to unmute yourself. Say a word of prayer, then we close this. Thank you.
And appreciation to my wife, Nash, who is also here.
Yes. Yeah, thank you so
Hi,
much.
Shubham.
Hi, Sarah.
So it's me, you wanted me to pray?
Yes.